The morning began like most others for Denise. Quiet, steady, calculated. She left her apartment at 6:45 a.m. on the dot. A black thermos of coffee in one hand, a tote bag over her shoulder, and the company-issued laptop snug in her backpack. She dressed in what she always wore on Mondays: black jeans, a navy hoodie with a faded university logo, and sneakers that had walked more hallways than she'd care to count. Nothing flashy. Comfortable. Intentional. By 7:30, she was stepping off the commuter train into the tech district. Glass towers rising around her. Most were still waking up. Delivery trucks idled. Cyclists zipped past. The sidewalks slowly filling with the caffeinated march of early risers. She reached the glass doors of the building just before 7:45. Swiped her badge. Nothing. No green light. No beep. She tried again. Still nothing. Inside, the lobby guard spotted her and tapped his earpiece. Then he stepped out from behind the security desk. "Excuse me," he said. "This entrance is for employees only." Denise held up her badge. "I am an employee. My card might be glitching you. Ma'am, you'll need to step aside. I can't let you in unless you're on the approved list." She blinked. Not angry. Not surprised either. "Can you check the list?" she asked, voice calm. He folded his arms. "What's your name?" She gave it. The pause was just long enough to be intentional. "I don't see you here," he said. "Maybe you're at the wrong building?" "No," she said. "I'm in this one. Top floor." That caught him off guard. He looked her over more carefully now. Hoodie. Sneakers. No makeup. No briefcase. "You work on the top floor?" he asked, the doubt in his voice sharp as glass. She nodded once. No explanation. But she knew he wasn't done yet. He took a step closer. Not threatening, just firm. His badge read R. Matthews. "You'll need to wait outside while I verify with someone," he said. Denise checked her watch. 7:47. She had a standing 8 a.m. strategy call with the board. Still plenty of time if this didn't drag. "Fine," she said, stepping back, letting the glass door close behind her. It locked with a soft click. Inside, Matthews picked up the phone. He didn't know who to call. No one on the early shift answered. He tried the facilities manager. Voicemail. He looked up again, watched her through the glass. Still calm. Still waiting. She didn't pull out her phone. Didn't pace. Just stood. From behind him, a younger guard emerged mid-yawn. Saw her. Froze. Whispered something. Matthews turned. "You know her?" The young man's eyes widened slightly. "Yeah," he said. "That's Denise Langston." Matthews squinted. "And?" "She's the CEO." Matthews didn't move at first. The word CEO hung there between them like a dare. He turned back to the glass. She hadn't flinched. Still waiting, hands in her hoodie pocket. Not annoyed. Not smug. Just still. "You're sure?" he asked. The young guard nodded slowly. "Positive. I've seen her in company updates. All hands videos." "That's her." Matthews felt the weight drop into his chest. He glanced at the badge in his hand. The one she had offered before he dismissed her. He hadn't even scanned it properly. He pressed the intercom and cleared his throat. "Ms. Langston?" His voice cracked slightly. She looked up but didn't step forward. I apologize. There was a mistake." Her expression didn't change. Just a small nod. Then she walked to the door. He unlocked it, holding it open. "Please come in." She passed by him with a polite, quiet thank you. The young guard offered a soft good morning. She returned it without hesitation. Matthews stood frozen, her name now echoing through his head. Denise Langston. The one who signed their checks. The lobby, once just a space with tiled floors and sterile lighting, felt heavier now. Denise moved through it slowly, not out of hesitation, just deliberate. She nodded to the receptionist who'd just arrived, then pressed the elevator button. Matthews watched her from the desk. His posture had shifted. Shoulders tight. Jaw clenched. The younger guard avoided eye contact altogether. The elevator dinged. She stepped in. Alone. Just before the doors closed, she turned slightly. Met Matthews's eyes. There was no smile. No frown. Just a look that landed harder than any reprimand. She didn't need to raise her voice. Didn't need to say a word. The message was already delivered. When the elevator doors shut, the silence that followed was sharp. The young guard finally spoke. "You think she'll report it?" Matthews didn't answer right away. "Then, she doesn't need to." The elevator rose quietly, each floor number lighting up in soft orange. Denise stood still, arms at her sides now. The calm from earlier hadn't faded, but something sharper had taken its place. Focus. By the time she reached the top floor, she was already thinking ahead. The meeting. The board. The expansion plan she'd been shaping for weeks. But the lobby guard's face still hovered in the back of her mind. Not because he'd stopped her. That part didn't surprise her. It was the ease of it. The certainty in his voice when he said she didn't belong. The doors slid open. She stepped out into the quiet, carpeted hallway that led to her office. No fuss. No welcome committee. She preferred it that way. Inside her office, the skyline stretched wide through floor-to-ceiling windows. Sunlight crept across her desk. She placed her bag down, opened her laptop, and clicked into the board meeting link 5 minutes early. No mention of the lobby. Not yet. Matthews hadn't moved from the desk. The silence between him and the younger guard had stretched too long, uncomfortable now. He finally broke it. She didn't look like a CEO. The younger guard winced. What does a CEO look like? Matthews didn't answer. Not really. Just muttered. Not like that. Behind them, the morning rush had begun. Employees flashed badges. Some in suits, others in leggings and sneakers. None questioned. All waved through. No one else was stopped. But now Matthews looked more carefully. At the faces, the clothes, the quiet glances. Every person walking past, he asked himself, would I have stopped them? And the answer came quicker than he liked. The younger guard sat back down, avoiding the computer screen. Matthews turned toward the door. Denise Langston's name still floating in his head. He reached under the desk and pulled up her profile on the internal directory. The photo was old. She wore a blazer in it. Smiling slightly, he stared at the image for a while, then closed the window. Upstairs, the board meeting was already in motion. 8 faces in small rectangles lined her screen: VPs, legal, finance, product leads. All logging in from their respective corners of the country. Polished, on time, formal. Denise kept her camera on mute at first, listening, letting them fill the space with updates, figures, projections. Then she unmuted. Let's pause, she said. Calm, steady. Heads lifted. Silence followed. I want to talk about something else before we move forward. Something that happened 15 minutes ago. A flicker of tension. Eyes narrowing, brows rising. She didn't name anyone. Didn't describe what he looked like. Just the facts. I was stopped at the front entrance. Badge didn't scan. I was told I didn't belong. Not because of any policy, but because of how I looked. She let it sit there. No blame. Just truth. One board member shifted uncomfortably in their seat. Another cleared their throat. Denise continued, this isn't about embarrassment. I'm not interested in apologies. I'm interested in what kind of culture we're building. Not just on paper, but in practice. A long silence. Then, we'll follow up. Internally, said someone from HR. Denise nodded once. Make sure you do. By mid-morning, the building had begun to buzz. Not loudly, just enough. A whisper at the front desk. A cautious conversation near the espresso machine. Someone had seen the guard stop a woman. Someone else had heard who she was. By 10 a.m., the story had already changed hands half a dozen times. Some said she was furious. Others claimed she hadn't said a word. Nobody knew for sure, but everyone had a version. In the break room, 2 engineers whispered over their coffee. Did you hear what happened to Langston this morning? She got stopped downstairs. Guard didn't recognize her. You serious? Yeah. Wouldn't let her in. Did she go off? Nope. Just waited. Like, calm. That part stuck with them. The stillness, the restraint. Not the kind that comes from weakness. The kind that comes from knowing you could say more, but choosing not to. Downstairs, Matthews was quiet too. He hadn't told anyone. Not officially. But people looked at him differently now. A little longer. A little more carefully. Just after lunch, an internal email landed in every inbox. Subject, building access and workplace assumptions. It wasn't long. Denise didn't believe in long memos. 3 paragraphs. Clear. Direct. She described the incident briefly without naming names. Then she shifted the focus. This isn't about a single employee, she wrote. It's about the assumptions we carry. The ones that tell us who belongs in a boardroom, who looks like a leader, who gets questioned before they even speak. She ended it without ceremony. Let this be a reminder. Respect isn't tied to titles or appearances. It's tied to how we treat people when we think no one's watching. No signature. No company logo at the bottom. Just DL. By 1 p.m., no one was talking in hypotheticals anymore. They knew who the woman was, and they knew she hadn't raised her voice. That unsettled them more than if she had. The tone in the office shifted. Not loud, not sudden, just quieter in a different way. At the elevators, people gave each other longer glances before speaking. In meetings, interruptions dropped. At lunch tables, conversations circled around the memo, but indirectly. Did you read what DL sent? Yeah. Pretty bold. Not really. Just honest. HR held an impromptu check-in. Light, informal, framed as open conversation about inclusion. No one mentioned the lobby guard by name, but everyone knew. Some defended him. Could have happened to anyone. Others disagreed. Sure, but it didn't. It happened to her. Upstairs, Denise kept her door open. No press release. No staff-wide address. She just sat working. Calm, focused. Same hoodie. Same stillness. A junior analyst passed by, paused, then knocked. Come in, Denise said without looking up. He stepped inside, nervous. I wanted to say I read your note, he said. It landed. She looked up then. Gave a small nod. Nothing more. That was enough. At 3:15 p.m. Matthews picked up the phone. He didn't have to. No one told him to. But the silence since the memo had grown heavier. And something about her stillness that morning kept circling back. He dialed the internal extension. Waited. A voice answered, Langston. He paused. This is Rob Matthews. From the front desk. There was a quiet beat on the line. Yes, she said. Not cold. Not warm. Just acknowledgement. I wanted to apologize, he said, voice low. I made assumptions this morning. I shouldn't have. Silence. I judged you by what you were wearing, not by who you are. I'm sorry. Another pause. Thank you for saying that, she replied. Still calm. Still steady. But you need to understand it's not just me. That kind of thinking? It hits people every day who don't have a title to shield them. Matthews swallowed. I know, he said. I see that now. She didn't lecture him. Didn't draw it out. All right, she said. Take care, Mr. Matthews. Click. No anger. No forgiveness either. Just a line drawn. By Thursday, training schedules were adjusted. The next all-hands meeting now included a segment on unconscious bias. Not as a box to check, but as a priority. No one mentioned Denise's name in the meeting invite. They didn't have to. In quiet corners, employees who rarely spoke up started conversations. Not loud ones, but honest. I've done that before, someone admitted. Assumed something based on nothing. I've seen it happen. I didn't say anything. I always thought I was better than that. And then softer, I guess none of us are until we choose to be. Security was given a revised protocol. Not just badge checks, but discretion checks. Judgment checks. Denise didn't lead those sessions. She didn't need to. Her story had already been told even though she never really told it. It traveled through looks, whispers, forwarded memos. Through the silence she chose when she could have chosen fire. That silence echoed. Still does. The following Monday, a woman in her early 60s approached the front desk. Simple blouse. Canvas tote. Hair graying at the temples. Looked like someone's retired aunt, maybe. Matthews sat up straighter this time. Good morning, he said, standing. Can I help you? She gave her name. She had a meeting upstairs. He checked the list, scanned her badge without hesitation, and opened the gate with a quiet welcome. She smiled, surprised. Thank you. As she walked away, the younger guard looked at Matthews. Raised an eyebrow. Used to let corporate-looking types walk through without a word, he said. Now you're standing up for everybody. Matthews nodded. I still on the hallway. Yeah, he said quietly. Everybody. Because now he looked closer. Not just at suits and heels, but at hoodies, sneakers, and eyes that knew more than they let on. He saw them all differently now. Because of her. Later that week, Denise left through the lobby just after 6. Most of the building had emptied out. The air felt softer, quieter. Matthews was still at the desk, sorting end-of-day logs. He noticed her approaching and straightened, unsure whether to speak. She nodded once. Not in greeting, just acknowledgement. Before she reached the door, he stepped around the desk. Ms. Langston, he said. She paused. I've been thinking about what you said, he continued. About how it's not just about title. That it happens to people who don't get a second chance. She looked at him, eyes steady. Waiting. I'm trying to see that now, he added. Not just with you. With everyone. A small pause. Denise didn't smile. But her expression softened just slightly. Keep doing that, she said. Then she walked out into the evening, steps even, unhurried. Behind her, Matthews exhaled like he'd been holding his breath all week. The following Friday, the executive team gathered for their quarterly town hall. Denise stood at the front, microphone in hand, hoodie still her trademark. Behind her, no slides. No bullet points. Just a simple company banner. She spoke about growth, about strategy, about the next product launch. The usual. Then, near the end, she paused. One last thing, she said. Culture isn't what we post on the website. It's what we do when no one's watching. No names. No incident mentioned. Just a truth laid gently on the room. And when we mess up, she added, what matters most is how we respond. That was it. The applause was measured, respectful. But the silence that followed meant more. In the back of the room, Matthews stood quietly beside a few others from facilities and security. No one looked at him differently now. Not because they forgot, but because they remembered. Outside, the sun had started to set. And somewhere beyond the glass towers and quiet streets, someone else would be stopped one day, questioned, judged. But maybe, just maybe, the outcome would be different, because one woman stood still and said nothing until it mattered.